Okay, we started that, and then we have Sitangshu Guha from New York. Uh, he was in Bangladesh during 1971 and fought for the freedom of the country. He was a student leader in Dhaka University and a Hindu community organizer, leader of Bangladeshi Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council. He is the editor of a bilingual monthly newsletter recording atrocities on Hindus and other minorities, and then currently living in New York. So welcome everyone, and then I will hand it over to Manas Dana for the uh, initial presentation, followed by Sangshu Anda.
Should I share screen now?
You can go ahead and present it.
Okay. Yeah, can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Now first screen, all right. Now, as the invitation went that as mine as a survivor, I am not a survivor, but my parents were survivors, but not genocides or high atrocities in 1947. They had to flee. And I was brought up in a refugee colony. There's a lot of struggle. All the families, they were scattered many parts of Bengal, Assam, and Tripura. So that's another story of survival. That's for another day. Now about 1971, I was a school student then, Indian citizen, but I was very much involved in various political activities. And my involvement particularly into this war was, we were collecting relief materials for freedom fighters and, other refugees. People were trickling in. So in the month of late of April, actually after 1 month of that problem started, 26th of April, our friends from school moved to border, Bengal, East Pakistan, West Bengal, East Bengal border with relief material. Then our friends went back. Myself and my brother decided to see more of this fight. We joined a Mukti Yodha group and went inside Bangladesh. But our stay was short because at that time India was not officially involved. So after 2 days, the camp we were staying, we got a information that within few hours, Pakistani army was going to come there with heavy artilleries. Our group, or the group we just got associated, they have some, simple rifles. I think only one automatic guns. So we had to flee back to India. And when we were coming back to India, we saw deluge of people all fleeing East Pakistan and going to Indian border. Thousands of people on that, it is a Josser road, which goes to Calcutta. Thousands of people with their belongings on their head, with kids on their laps, and whatever they could manage, and a lot of bullock carts, cow carts, they are fleeing to India. It was a really, still, that sight haunts me. We came back, and then, of course, went to many refugee camps and other activities, but no direct participations in the Mukti Yuddha or freedom fight. Second thing is survival and celebration. Actually, there's nothing to celebrate who survived 1971 genocide, because about 1 crore, 10 million people took refuge in India, and 95% of them are Hindus. Others were basically Awami League supporters, top level leaders. This 10 million people went back with a belief that a new country has developed. Their constitution is secular. But within 3 years, after the killing of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, large numbers of them had to flee back to India. Actually, today's that CAA, so-called controversial, is actually for these people. Later, Pakistan, Afghanistan, there were a handful of number of people. The large number, about 10 million of people, 10 million people came back again in India who survived the genocide. And it is unfortunate to tell that CA was not required if some bureaucrats during the Atal Bihari regime changed the Indian Citizenship Act, which create the problem of this second group of refugees. When my parents became refugee, and all the other Hindus and other minorities used to come to India fleeing Islamic persecution in East Bengal or East Pakistan, they are becoming citizen of India had no problem. Indian Citizenship Act has the proper provisions to accommodate them. But 2003, during Vajpayee government, some bureaucrats and some people who are not knowing the ground situation changed it and created the problem. But that's a different issue. Now, about this genocide. Yesterday also, I was going to the newspapers today evening, Dhaka's morning. Dhaka University has a center for genocide studies. They have done a lot of work on them. And they are also trying through United Nations to formally record it as a genocide of Bengalis. But we are talking about the Hindus, because as per the statistics, 90% of these people who were killed in these genocides were Hindus. So obviously, I don't blame them. Their genocide story is about Bengalis, that 3 million number, of course. Many people contest that number. I am not going there. The 3 million people were massacred, murdered, and it should be officially recognized as a genocide. And the military officers of the Pakistan should be tried. But nowhere the mention of the Hindus. But we know our friends, families, when we were in Calcutta refugee colony, our neighbors, they got visitors from Bangladesh who have fled, their relatives died. But that whole story never got any anchorage in Indian media and specifically West Bengal media. Just a week back, my wife was talking on Zoom with another friend and talking about many things. They talked about the Holocaust museums. One visited the museum in Washington, another in Berlin, and both told after going through it, they really wept. I thought they never wept for their own people who were killed, who also faced a genocide. I don't blame them, because they do not know that these things are these things happen. I can tell you my story. I was also ignorant. When I was working in Saudi Arabia, in our power station control room, there was a Pakistani person, very notorious person. But one day, he was taunting one of our Indian colleagues. He's a Muslim, Hussein. He was saying, you Indian Muslims are good for nothing. You are just, slaves of Hindus. They kill you at their own will. So then I told that Paki, okay, you are good. How many Muslims we kill in a year in India? 1,000? He was not happy. I said, okay, 2,000? He was not happy. I said, 5,000? He said, yes, maybe. I said, okay. So last 30 years, it is in the early 80s, I was there. So last 30 years, how many Muslims we have killed in India? So 5 into 30, 150,000. Good. He said, yes. I said, in 9 months in East Pakistan, how many Muslims you killed? And I to give him the 3 million number. I was not that aware that majorities were not Muslims, but anyhow, so he was stunned and never talked or taunted that Hussein. So this I am telling to say that when people are talking about the Hindu genocide, we were also, even, I am now talking about this in this such a forum or many other forums. Even in 80s, I was not aware that most of the victims were Hindus. Now, thing is, why there was a Hindu genocide in 71? It's not that before 1970, 71, before 1970, Hindus were in a happy state in East Pakistan. They never, because in 1949, there were 29% Hindus in East Pakistan. And by 1970, it has come down to 15%. It is the biggest ethnic cleansing during peace period. But in 1970, it happened in a very short period. Practically, whole East Pakistan or East Bengal was Hinduless, just what happened in Kashmir Valley. The reason, one of the things is the election, 1970 election, first election, general election in Pakistan, full-fledged. There were 300 seats for the parliament, 160 from East Pakistan and 140 from West Pakistan, as East Pakistan had more people. Out of these 160, 158 was won by Awami League, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Now, by parliamentary democracy, he was supposed to lead the country, become the prime minister. West Pakistani politicians and militaries cannot accept it. And they, at that time, they noted very well that why East Pakistan has more population than West Pakistan, and so more seats, because 15% of these people are Hindus. If they can be eliminated, and sent back to executed, killed, and sent back to India, there will be a balance. And also, all the militaries and West Pakistanis and fundamentalists of East Pakistan believe that Muslims of East Pakistan were not very good Muslims. They were still influenced by the Hindu culture. They were trying to, curtail it. Tagore song was banned. Many Bengali texts were changed, etc., etc. And this election and victory of Mujibur Rahman gave them a chance to eliminate Hindus altogether. And 25th March night, the onslaught began. And killing of the Hindus was not a hush-hush affair. Actually, as you can see in the screen, that Hamidur Commission, that the inquiry commission constituted in West Pakistan to analyze the defeat of the Pakistani forces, there the witnesses clearly told that we have been told specifically to kill the Hindus. And the officers are asking, how many Hindus you have killed? So it was a quite planned Hindu killing, but in Indian media and other never told. See, this is a quite, ill-famous picture. How the military were searching to finding the man is circumcised or not. He is a true Muslim or a Hindu wearing a lungi in Dhaka. And you can see, Shitanshuda can tell that on the night of 25 March, when Mujibur was arrested and taken away, immediately the assault came, and first assault came in Dhaka, naturally. It is the capital, on the Hindu areas, Jagannath Hall. I think Shitanshuda was also a resident of that hall, Dhaka University, very famous. 100 Bengali Hindu students were killed. Then next day, Shakhari Bajar. Shakhari Bajar is shankh makers. There are the people, craftsmen who work with these conch shells. There are 8,000 Bengalis were killed one night or one morning. Then next day it was the Ramana Kali temple. The Ramana Kali temple is the tallest Kali temple and one of the oldest Kali temple in the whole undivided Bengal. It was destroyed. Our Kali Bhaktos in India never took much note of it. We tried once, the last picture of Ramana to be posted in every Kali pandal during Kali Puja. Nobody showed any interest. And the priest was killed and his wife, that widow, lived a very, real life in the Assam, one of the villages of Assam. Some of the relatives gave her to stay. Then Loharpur. So this shows that the whole attack on the Hindu was so premeditated. They didn't delay. Just after the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was arrested, the attack was there. Now question, somebody say, is this a genocide? Because there's the international convention. What is a genocide? Or it is just, at that time some political situation was different. So just for simple revenge, military killed Hindus. No. You can see genocides, what makes a genocide? Killing of a particular members of a group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to the members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or part. And this ABC just fits into the torture, execution, and all other things done on the Hindi community in East Pakistan then. So, and this is just not a pro-Hindu person talking. Just see the screen. The American Consul General in Dhaka in 1971, at that time, declared that this is a genocide. I'm not going through it full. Reading, you can read it, because time is short. I don't know how much time I've spoken. Venu, how much time I am left.
Yeah, you kind of almost close to 20 minutes.
Okay, I will just end with the next two slides. So Senator Edward Kennedy also told same thing in 70 in the Senate, that this is a genocide. New York Times reported that Hindu houses were marked H, so that military has no problem in bombing them. Somewhere they bombed them or to find them. And if you go to the literature of the popular writers of Bangladesh, Humayun Ahmed and others, there are a lot of stories and others they carry, how military just went to the village or big market, first asked where are the Hindus, and they just brush fired them. Now, Bangladesh remembers this genocide. As I told you, Dhaka has a genocide study, and every killing, a lot of, I've been in Calcutta, I have a collection of about 70 books. 70, there are small books, but every places, how it happened, how many people were killed, who killed them, that has been recorded by small booklets. But in India, problem is Hindu community never took it seriously. Our political parties never took it seriously. Remember, 90,000 Pakistani soldiers were prisoners of war, but we never leveraged them. Kashmir problem was not solved, though Indira Gandhi's two top advisors were Kashmiri Pandits at that time. The Pakistani officers identified, 195 officers were specifically identified as, violating the human rights of all these things and part of the genocide operation. They were released. And most unfortunately, Hindu religious leaders, they never talked about this cause. You see, the Sikhs observed their martyrdom's day. Then Bangladesh yesterday, they do the 1 minute blackout to remember these people who died in this genocide. But none of our temples or religious leader did a fast today or did some special puja or prayer today in the temples. Our leaders, Hindu religious leaders, they have deserted these people. Nobody listened to them. But I am thankful to Hindu American Foundation. They observed it. They did a big seminar and they are lobbying in the, both the houses of the Senate and written to President Biden to recognize this is a Hindu genocide. Of course, Bangladesh is also trying to do it as a genocide, but they are trying to do it more. I think I have talked enough, and now I think Sitanshu can really give the ground zero experience. Thank you all.
Thank you, Manasta.
Shall I start?
Yeah, Sitanshu, you go ahead.
Okay. Namaste, everybody. Good evening. My name is Sitanshu Guha. I'm from Bangladesh, living in New York. And I'm working for Bangladeshi Hindus actually from 1975 when I was a student of Dhaka University. And yes, I am a son of the soil, born in Bangladesh, educated and used to work in newspaper and as well as a college. Then came to USA and still I'm well connected with Bangladesh and as well as India too. But Bangladesh, of course, I'm writing continuously in Indian, especially Jugo Shankho, Bengali newspaper, and as well as Dhaka also. Look, this is who I am, and Manoj presented something. First, I should, as I told you, that I was only informed last night, and I don't have time, and today whole day I was in work and come, and okay. But I'm sure I can give you some information which will be valuable for all of us. Yes, I should first thank HAF, the American Foundation, for raising this issue, the Bengali Hindu genocide. In Bangladesh, we are trying to make it a genocide, but this is HAF and Dipali Kulkarni, who is working on this subject, and I am in touch with her. She takes this issue to the next level. And I'm sure you will get a lot of information and a lot of sad stories in coming days. First, let me give you some basic thing. You all know that in Bangladesh in 1971, according to government record, 3 million people were killed and 400,000 women were violated. 1972, Senator Kennedy published a report in Senate where he said that 80% of the victims are Hindus. That means 80% of 3 million is 2.4 million, that is 24 lakhs Hindus were killed in 1971. And 80% of 400,000 women is 3,20,000 Hindu women were violated. Now, see, if this is not a genocide, then what will be a genocide? Okay, moreover, roughly 10 million or 1 crore Hindus were refugees in India. During 1971, 99.9% Hindus were uprooted in East Pakistan or now in Bangladesh. It is 99.9%. Not a Hindu family you will find there who are not affected by this way or that way. Why? Because Hindus were targeted. How Hindus were targeted? How we can prove it? First thing, the 25th March, Manoj just touched it. 25th March, 25th March, Pakistani army targeted mainly, we call it Razarbagh police station and BDR, managed Border Security Force headquarters, and Oman, Dhaka University, one Oman residential hall, and one Hindu residential hall that is called Jagannath Hall. I was not in that time in Jagannath Hall, but I was later a student of that hall, but because that is a residential university. So if you look at this, Pakistani army target, at the same time, Shakharipatti, a Hindu dominated area. So out of all these 5-6 target they did, they target 3 Hindu. One is Jagannath Hall, which is they killed almost more than 100 students and some officials also. And another is Shakharipatti, they kill mercilessly everybody, who are that number maybe 200, 300. Nobody knows actually, there is no statistics. On 27th March, Pakistani army targeted Ramna Kali temple. That is, they barricaded the whole temple and killed there almost 100. I have exactly the number, something like 80 something, and destroyed the temple. This is 800 years old temple. It is a landmark. So that time, New York Times, actually Manoj said this, I just repeat, the New York Times had a heading that Hindu houses were marked H with patches so that Pakistani military can destroy that. That time there was a famous picture, Manoj had shown that picture. I could not make it a powerful presentation, but you saw this picture. This picture, you see that they tried to identify if you are a Hindu or not a Hindu. So for that, they used to, we used to wear lungi, a typical dress of Pakistan. Then East Pakistan, yeah, they used to open the lungi and see if I am a Hindu or Muslim. If you are Hindu, you are dead, as simple as that. And there was another thing that I also memorize Quranic verses. And this was for survival. Every man and woman Hindu then memorize some verses. Mainly one they call is Kalema. That we all know, and still I don't forget. That is still in my memory, because if Pakistan army catch, they used to look for 2 things. Number one, if you are a man, then your private part, and number 2, if you know the Kalema, some Quranic verses. So these are the two items. I give you several examples. So how it become a Hindu genocide, that because Hindus were targeted. And now let me see about just a bit about my family. As I told, I was a college student then. And we actually have 2 houses. One is our local house, that is, we call it Chatpur. Another is Dhaka. My elder brother, he was 7-8 years older than me. He was working in Dhaka in a pharmaceutical industry. And he rented a house. He was unmarried. So in our culture that time, that if unmarried son is there, mother used to be with him. So mother, and along with mother, there are my 3 other siblings. One just my immediate younger sister. She just passed SSC school final. She went to Dhaka for getting admission in college. So we had one house, that is a rented house in Dhaka, and one in Chatpur. So my father used to live both the places, but what happened was that my brother, about a week before, he came to Chatpur. I was in Chatpur then he said that I have to go to Agartala for an interview. So you know that Hindus then try to come to India if they come with a job. That was fantastic. So he went to Agartala, maybe 18, 19 March. Then my father came from Dhaka to Chatpur on 24th March. You see, next day, it is 25th March. The killing, genocide started. And my mother, along with those 3 siblings, stuck in Dhaka. Now you understand my father is there almost 65 or something like that, and he was not in good health. So we are stuck in Chatpur, and my mother with 3 young siblings, youngest is a school final pass, is 16. So anyway, then millions of people are coming from Dhaka. Nobody used to go to Dhaka that time. In 1 week, there was no way to go to Dhaka. But my father was getting annoyed what happened to his family. And I was the only man just in the college. Not that easy. I do not understand anything that time. You see, a young boy of 1971 is okay. But I understand, now I understand why my father, then they used to live near Sadhana Oshodhalaya, a Hindu old big pharmaceutical company. Maybe March 2nd, April 2nd or 3rd, that Pakistan military actually killed all the people in that, most of them were Hindus, in that Sadhana Oshodhalaya. Then my father thought my mother and 3 siblings are dead. There is no question. But he wanted a confirmation. I understand he didn't tell me to go, but I understand that he want me to go. And he want to sacrifice another son if needed. There is no choice. Okay, anyway, I decided to go. That time, I don't know how from I get the strength, but I decided to go. And that is a tremendous journey. I actually wrote this thing and give it to Dipali Kulkarni also. So that is a big story. I'm not telling that. It was very hard to go when there is no communication. And it is a riverine country. Most of everything is river. So anyway, I go, maybe most probably 5th April, I started for Dhaka and I reached Dhaka on 6th April, early morning. And when I go to, there is a place called Fotulla. I saw that that Fotulla area is burning, and Pakistani military just burned that is maybe two hours before, and they left. Somebody advised me that time they go early in the morning. Actually, when I reached Dhaka in my house, it was 7 a.m. So it was too early. That's true. I'm not giving that description, but I shall describe one small thing, how when I reached our home, I knocked, I just print this one page from that writing. I knocked the main door of our house and there was no response. I knocked the other doors and banged the windows and still there is no response. I was thinking about my next step. I knew some people around our house, but was not brave enough to go around finding those people. About after 10 minutes passed, I thought I should knock the upstairs doors where the owners used to reside. I started knocking the door and nothing happened. To my desperation, I went to a side door and knocked. Still, nobody opened the door. This time, I really felt very sad and was thinking, what would I tell to my father? Suddenly, the side door opened and somebody just dragged me inside. Most of the doors were locked from outside, except only a few that were locked from inside. Actually, my teenage sister pulled me in and I saw my mother and two other siblings. The meeting was pretty shocking. Actually, whenever I even read, talk, I cannot hide, sorry. Okay, everybody was very excited to see me and probably sensed a glimmer of hope to get out of the hellish Dhaka house. I looked at my mother. I was really surprised with her appearance. My Hindu mother was forced to dress like a Muslim widow to stay alive. She had neither vermilion nor her nor any white Bengals shakha in her hands, rather dressed white as a widow. She looked older than her age, and the fear of being detected as a Hindu mother was noticeable on her face. A Hindu mother was forced to give her precious tradition to save herself and her family from the Pak butchers' daggers. My brothers and sisters are very distressed from the traumatic situation and could not speak for a while. Actually, after 50 years, still I could not stop my emotion till today. These actually I didn't know. ISPAD take an interview of me. Only then I understand. Whenever I am talking these, after so many times, every time this happens, I become so emotional. And I remember my mother of that time, that picture emerges in my mind. And okay, this is, there was a joke that time in Pakistan Army. This is somewhere I have that thing that Pakistan Army used to joke that how many Hindus you kill today. So it is a genocide, but it is more than a genocide. It is a Hindu genocide. Okay, now India freed Bangladesh. India freed Bangladesh. Now it is 50 years. How are the Hindus in Bangladesh at this time? I'm just giving a 2 minutes, taking this time. Hindus paid the highest price for the freedom of Bangladesh, and now they are second-class citizens. India lost about 4,000 soldiers in Bangladesh soil. There is nothing symbolic in Bangladesh that India sacrificed everything for us. Did India freed Bangladesh to become a mini Pakistan? Yes, today's Bangladesh is a mini Pakistan. Hindus are still fleeing for India, to India, for safety and the same thing, dignity. Our girls are violated and converted like 1971. Mullahs frequently attack different locations. Government confiscated 2.6 million acres of Hindu land in the name of enemy property or vested property. Digital Security Act is used as blasphemy law, and hundreds of Hindu boys are in jail for the so-called insult of Islam. Although we are talking about 1971 Hindu genocide, actually Hindu genocide started 1946 by direct action day in Calcutta by Sohrawardi, Hossein Sohrawardi, followed by 1950 Noakhali riot and 64 Narayanganj riot, and still that is going on. This is an ongoing process, and at this time we call it a slow Hindu genocide. Manoj Rai had given some definition. I have some also definition, but I will not go to that far. I think there is for statistics. 1970 election, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman won 167 seats out of 169 seats and gained the majority. Just think one thing, 100%, there are 19.7% Hindus were there, and 100% Hindus voted for Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. That's why he got the majority. If 10% Hindu would not give him vote, he would not get that majority. So Hindus are responsible. Hindus are the cause that Bangladesh become free, independent. But still, there is a Hindu genocide going on in Bangladesh. Thank you. And I'll be ready to answer any question. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Yeah, thanks.
Venerji, you're breaking up, or is it on my
Very
side?
emotional. You're right. I'm driving, so I will maybe like another 2 minutes I will reach my destination. But Tushari, we will have the Q&A. If you can just coordinate the session, that will be good. Yes, till I will be reaching there.
Yes, Venerji.
Yeah.
So the
Q&A
floor is open for questions. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you might have.
Sorry to hear these experiences which I grew up hearing. I grew up in Calcutta, so all my forefathers are always in West Bengal. So we never see that closely, but I came to know from my friends and others, families, and that was really a traumatic experience, which as Manoj and you told, Sitangshu Babu, that this is really traumatic, and it is very difficult to visualize if you yourself not facing it. And that's why, unfortunately, it's not being projected that badly. You know, I think that was the reason. What Manasda was asking, no media does. I think the media don't do it with a reason because India still holds a large number of Muslims, and they don't want any of this. And if to come out in the people and get any additional outrage, that's an issue too. But beside that, I think the book, exchange of ideas of the people should not stop, but it stopped. I never had any personal experience at all because, Calcutta was being secured place. We had a different problem, complete different issue. I think Manasa knows part of it. And also, we have always have a village where our forefathers, like past 14 generations were there, and which is in the middle of West Bengal. We recently see when the immigrants came, they're telling we were telling they are from Bangladesh. That's all. That much experience I have. But yes, I appreciate that you were sharing, and our Hindu organization is trying to push it forward from United States, and we will have all our support, whatever we can. Yep.
Hi, this is Rashmi. I'd like to share some experiences. And first of all, thank you very much, Manashda and Shitangshuda. I really appreciate what you shared. I was really very young, a toddler during 1971, and I grew up in Agartala. So Shitangshuda, when you mentioned about that, I can relate that very well. And I did not have much experience or not much of memory of 1971 Mukti Juddha. But I remember lots of people were coming to our town and my parents were helping them out. So, and I'm really very sorry to hear what you had to go through and your family, Shitangshuda. So my heart goes out to what your mom did. That's to save the family. That's wonderful in one sense, but in the other sense, what a shock. So thank you so much for sharing those experiences.
Thank you, Rashmi. I was in Agartala in late September 1971. Anyway, good part of the story is that I was successful to bring my mother along with the 3 siblings to Chatpur on 7th April. And the next day, Pakistan Army actually shelled Chatpur from helicopter. So next day, the whole town has become a ghost town. Everybody left the town. Nobody knows who goes where. But anyway, that was a story. I'm saying, I don't know to take all your time. I'm saying that is another part of the story, how we go from, I come from Dhaka to Chatpur. My father was so happy with seeing everybody alive. That is, so it is unimaginable. So,
sure.
And then there is only for one day. From next day, we started again. And it was another journey. So up to there, it is a long story. But that is true. If I still, whenever I talk about my mother on that day, what I saw her, still I cannot hold my tears. Still today. It is, I don't know why this is happening. She died 20 years before. My father died 30 years before. But still that thing is...
that's a shock.
I don't know. This is
the trauma that left a scar in your memory. Yeah.
Yes, that is very, 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 those things actually you cannot, how we fled from Chatpur. That is another story. Now maybe I didn't write, but now I tell you one story. You see, my father, at that time, East Pakistan Hindus were trying to actually they said that I was a good student. Actually, I was not, but I think I am not. But when I get first divisions, people thought that I will be either a medical student or engineer. That medical student. That my father says that is still Pakistan. That no, you cannot be a doctor. I say, others say why? But you cannot stay East Pakistan that long. That means everybody was trying to flee from East Pakistan.
Yeah.
So that is the situation I saw. Our house was looted one time. Everything was gone. But particularly I saw my father that he was happy after one of the cart. You understand cart, the bed. In that time there was very old model carts.
Mhm.
I'm sure that has some, I wrote this thing, that's why I'm saying, he has some memory. We never asked him, but he was very happy when that hut was looted. What I feel is that, that at least he felt that at least I don't need to sell it.
Mm.
People take it.
Oh.
So that was maybe that he may have.
Shitanshuda, there is a good film by Rajen Tarokdar. The name of the film is Palonko. Big card, you know, with ornamented design and other, which is called Palonko.
Yes.
It was made a joint at that time Indo-Bangladesh film. This was of the story of a Hindu house. Everybody has left. That big Palonko was there. Now who will get it? A lot of rich Muslims, they were eyeing it. And, you know, there is bargaining and other thing. But the Hindu owner, still the owner, he donated it to his, the person who works for him, his servant, Muslim servant. And he took it to his home, and then he became the victim of other Muslim, rich Muslim. Why you got it, you know?
They
So
were
that's a
jealous.
different story. But, you know, but yeah, you told, we have seen this sort of, you know, thing pre-Pakistan, post-Pakistan. And as you told, I was in Mymensingh, people where my parents came in 1994. I was in Dhaka for some seminar, and then from there, so one Hindu person agreed to show me the town. So we are on a rickshaw, and he was telling so bad things about the Muslims. So I told him, what you are doing? He said, don't worry. This guy knows everything. We are living on the mercy of these guys. So whether I tell good or bad about Muslims or him, it does not matter. He will decide when he is going to kick me or kill me. So I am very open everywhere. So that is the thing, you know, he has left his fate on these things. So,
This is
and then
typical
people took it,
Bengali
you know, a lot of
character,
people took it with a, joke and other thing, but he really told.
I think this is one book, the one book Rashmi's dad gave us by Prafullo Chakraborty, that's published in West Bengal at least. That's a good book called Prantik Manav. At least some historic evidence is there.
The good thing, Shoman, sorry to cut it, the original book, which is later translated, which his name is Marginal Men.
Right.
Best thing is,
Sorry, he was my father's friend, and he was a professor of history and our neighbor. So yeah, he had lots.
So
of
he didn't get a good publisher. Not only that, if you go to the bibliography of this book, the history on the, you know, there is practically no mention of any other research paper or book. All the lists are government circulars, newspaper cuttings. That was the thing. Because in West Bengal,
he has like, you know, a 50 pages glossary, but those glossaries, because it's like different camps, name of the different camps, stuff like that.
No, glossary. I'm telling even the reference paper. I do not know about the Bengali one. Because I have not seen the Bengali one, the English one. So most of the thing is government circulars, interview with people, and, you know, newspaper cuttings. Because as I told you, there is a Center for Genocide Studies in Dhaka University. Calcutta University have no center or department, as I understand, for refugee studies. Though
you don't need
more than a crore people came, you know, so many people and established people are there. There is no study. Because, well, many things, you know, other things. So Calcutta University doesn't have history and other things. Forget about the department, not even a center dedicated to these studies.
I think we are running a little over time.
Actually, today,
this is we are running over, so I don't have any question, but I wanted to just mention that you know, I learned new things today, and I want to thank Shitangshuda and you, Manush, for educating me about things that I didn't know before. So thank you for organizing this lecture.
Yeah, I would echo Vishwananda too. So yeah, thank you so much.
Hello, this is Paresh. Thank you for organizing this event and all the organizers and the speakers. I learned a lot in this today's thing. We all along, I have never been to Bengal or for the sake even West Bengal, Calcutta. So I have been hearing these stories that there has been a lot of atrocities in Bangladesh, but being grown up in India, we were just always given the very glossy pictures and some Durga rescued Bangladesh, right? But what other price has been paid by the native Hindus was not, we were not educated about that one. Even if there are a lot of books, it's written in Bengali, or the movies are also in Bengali. Is there a way we can do to publicize those, or at least popularize those books? And if there are anything in other languages, we should definitely do it. And also, is there a possibility we should start celebrating one day of the year as to, to commemorate, or like at least to just for the Hindu genocide kind of thing? Because as the generation will go on, I think we're just talking about the 50 years ago, a lot of people don't even know. I don't think so 50 years from now, people, you or I, we won't be here, and perhaps we won't have these stories, right? Or maybe it'll be just confined among the Bengali families. So if we really want to highlight this and ensure that mankind remember this, can we take some actions, or can we?
I think Hindu American Foundation is doing something for at least the diaspora in USA, and other things, different political and religious issues, because I know Sikhs, a lot of Sikhs do it. Even Palestine is their refugee colony, was refugee, Shatila was attacked, they observed the day. So it did not be a very big day. It can be even Bengal, this day Ramana Kalibari was destroyed, that day can be observed. But anyhow,
can we start doing something, Manasda, here?
Yeah.
Can we also start doing something like?
Can I
25th? 25th March.
We can think about it, talk about people.
Okay, can I tell something? Okay, actually, HF doing on this Hindu genocide, and let them do it, and we can actually help them. It is 1971. Bangladeshi people, of course, we are helping, but from 71 to 2021, these 70 years, you can look at it, and that is also another genocide. Still continue. That is what I say. Genocide started then, but it is still continuing. I had one presentation Saturday, with a side event of UNO, where it was the Omen persecution in Bangladesh era. I actually presented there. That was, I was very ready, so I presented a small video, and then some. If you permit me, I can show that 1 minute and 30-second video. You can get some idea.
Sure.
Let me see if I have it still now. It is not there, but let me try bring it.
ওরা আমাকে এমন অবস্থায় যে হাতের উপর করে তুলে নিয়ে কেউ খামচাচ্ছে, কেউ জামা প্যান্ট টেনে খুলে ফেলছে। বসবাস ধরে শ্মশান ঘাট, সেই শ্মশান ঘাটের মাঝে আমাকে একটা পতিত খ্যাতির মধ্যে রেখে কনভারসেশন করা হয়। কলিগদের সাথে ওই আইডিটা যুক্ত হয়ে গেছে, ওরা আপন মনে করে সেভ করেছে যে আমার কলিগ, সেই কারণে ওরা অ্যাকসেপ্ট করেছে। তখন আমাকে জিজ্ঞেস করছে, এরে দোস্ত তুই এরকম ভাবে নোংরা ছবি পোস্ট করছিস, তুই কি এগুলো করে খাস? স্কুল, কলেজ, ইউনিভার্সিটি এই তিনটা জীবনে আমি ফেস করতে হয়েছে আমাকে। এগুলোর জন্য আমি রাস্তায় হাঁটতে পারি। অনেকে আমাকে বলেছে এই সেই মেয়েটা, অনেকে আমাকে রাস্তায় পিছন দিয়ে চলে মুঠি ধরে মেরেছে। আমার লজ্জা, এটা বাংলাদেশের সমাজের লজ্জা।
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think very unfortunate. Yeah, I have a hard deadline to leave from 7:15. So thank you very much for organizing. And, we'll be in touch for next steps. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
How long will it take for the party to finally figure out that perhaps what
Any more questions?
Well, let's conclude actually. 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I think if you don't have more questions, I will conclude here. Thank you, Manasa. Thank you, Sakshita, and also thanks to everyone who has joined today.
Thank you, Venu and Vande Mataram Sacramento for organizing this. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, I think it's our responsibility. So we need to do this kind of events to show our solidarity. And then, yeah, maybe as far as you were saying, right, we will see how we can have some kind of event future as well.
Manasda, make yourself available if we can make you to go and speak up the same thing in other groups. I think.
Yeah, I will be. Just inform me in advance. I will be.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe Manasda, I think we have few more localites who joined today, right? Maybe a good idea to bring them together as well. Like you said, we have from the Davis University, UC Davis, and Reshmi Ji and Dara. It's a great to have them onboarded as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Target for the next year, some big event on this day where we don't have to do this thing on Zoom. We can open it for others, and this message can be spread as well.
Yes, we can observe. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Say night.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.